And we'll get settled. You know, we could even start now, and then if anybody else filters in, I'll just chat. And oh, here's Becca. Okay, never mind. We'll get started in a minute. Hey, Becca. Hi, in the blue room. Yay. Everybody's got all their animals, props, blanket if you get chilly as the night goes on. It's supposed to get really cold tonight, like the first big, real freezy, frosty night here. So I'm just going to wait for Harper one more moment and then we'll get started. But you can, you know, if you like, especially as we go towards colder weather, I always like if you're using a yoga mat to put a blanket on top of your yoga mat when you're practicing yin. It's really so nice just to give yourself that extra little cushion and warmth and for your joints for sure. And you know, let's get rolling. And where we're gonna start, we're gonna get right into it today. Oh, there's a puppy. And we're gonna start in crocodile pose. And crocodile pose is a face down position. I hope you can see. So my feet are turned out. I have the inner edges of my feet on the ground, toes facing opposite directions. Doesn't really matter how, like, you don't have to zip your legs together. They're not super far apart. They just sort of land in the most organic place for your body there. And then your hands are going to stack one on top of the other. And you can drop your head right down onto the back of your top hand. And so basically a prone resting position with your feet turned out, your legs turned out. It's, you know, slightly awkward as a good yin pose should be, I think, with that turnout of the legs. So doing your best to just travel around, say hello to all the parts of you. There's Harper. Welcome everybody to the party. And then see what's willing to loosen a bit. Hi, Harper. We're just getting started and we just started in crocodile pose, which looks like belly down, legs long, feet turned out, toes facing opposite directions, arms across horizontal in front of you, one palm stacked over the other, forehead drops and rests on the back of your top hand. Take as long as you need to get settled and snuggled. You got all the time in the world. And when you do, if and when you settle, you know, sometimes it's hard to settle. Sometimes there's a lot going on inside of us. I've been really super into stories lately. I just got back from California and I was filming for Yoga Anytime and telling stories all day long. So my head is filled with stories, which is always fun. And one of them I've been really into is the story of, there's a Chinese creation story. And it says that in the beginning there was nothing. And then this giant egg appears, and inside the egg was absolute chaos of everything that is and everything that isn't. And I thought, yeah, that feels familiar. So look around the inside of your egg. What's going on in there? And as you look around and you tune in to the mood of your heart, to the mood of your physical body, mood of your bones, and you check in and just maybe wait and see what arises, not looking for anything specific, just noticing. Just noticing. And if something comes up, a thought, a story, an emotion, a sensation, just recognizing that and then allow it and soften. That's been my favorite mantra lately. Recognize, allow, and soften. So really inviting gravity to take you here. Feel the earthiness of your bones. Allow your blood to settle. Imagine it settling down towards the earth. And I'm going to tell you another story, a longer story this time. And it's a story from the Kabbalah. So I don't know if anyone might be familiar with it, but it's a creation story from the Kabbalah. And I think it's one of the most beautiful stories ever told. And the story goes that during the creation of the universe, there were 10 vessels that the divine God created to hold light. These 10 vessels were meant to hold all of the divine light of the universe. But the light was too powerful, the light was too much for them. They couldn't hold it all, and so the vessels broke, they smashed. And had they not broken, the world would have been perfect. But the vessels were too fragile to contain all that divine light. So they broke open, and that's the world that we live in now, the broken world. But what happened was when they broke, the shards of light, they scattered everywhere, and they're still scattered all around us. Holy sparks scattered like seeds, like stars. And you can bend down and you can pick up these shards of light. Right? It's all about paying attention. And the story says that that's why we're here. That's why humans were created, to gather the sparks of light in this broken world, to look for beauty, to hunt down joy, and to raise it up, to raise up those shards of light so that others can see them too. Taking a good long breath in, maybe a little more than you're inclined to, feeling really big with breath and letting it all the way out, and letting the exhale just invite such a sense of downward moving energy, of falling into the earth. A couple more like that. Big breaths, big 360-degree round breaths. And then on the exhale, just falling, falling, falling. Like all those shards of light that fell to earth, falling like a shooting star, falling through outer space. And then we're going to move on. We're not going to move too far though. Coming from this crocodile, you can keep your right toes turned out, but point your left foot back now. So the left foot, you're on the top of the left foot, is no longer turned out. Slide your hands into a sphinx position. So bring your elbows to the ground under your shoulders or somewhere around there. Palms nicely kind of heavy on the earth. And then the right knee is going to slide up to the outside of your hip to come into a half frog in your Sphinx here. And y'all know by now there's so many ways to work with the Sphinx pose. You can add or subtract sensation as you need to. If it's too much with the leg, you can try moving it further down, see how that feels. You can try coming down a little lower too if you need to, or going up a little higher on some blocks or a pillow or a bolster if you want more back. So finding a place where you personally today in this body can settle and pay attention. So once you find your shape, you gently re-relax, right? Coming back to that feeling of loosening, inviting the earthiness into all the places that touch the ground and letting yourself fall. As you breathe now, you can breathe with a long exhale. Sometimes when my brain is really busy, it helps me to count my out breath. And so if you've got an extra busy brain, you could do that. Otherwise, just following along and just kind of riding your breath. You could ride the coattails of your in breath all the way down to your feet. And you can ride the out breath into an even deeper sense of settling. Keep on following the waves of your breath. So listening here, listening like you could listen with every cell. Listen to the inside of your body. You could listen with your bones. Feeling where is the sensation the strongest? And how far does it spread? I've been really working with a private student, and our work is mostly just on interoception, just trying to feel what's going on inside, and realizing that it's hard. And so many little things you can do, and one of them I love is just finding a sensation and trying to really feel exactly where it is and how far out from the epicenter can you feel it. Where does it go? How far do its tendrils spread? Calling here in these last moments, calling on gravity, calling on the weight of the world, not as a bad thing, but as a lovely, heavy thing. The weight of the air, the weight of gravity, the weight of the sky above you. Let it help you loosen. Let it help you sink. Let it help you let go. Let it help you break, right? That's what we're doing here. We're going to come apart at the seams, break like the holy vessels, scatter our light everywhere like stars. Come on out. You can start to come out. We're going to head into a child's pose, but along the way, take what you need. Okay, along the way, you can take any kind of movement that serves you, maybe a hands and knees, moving your spine in a way that feels useful, or maybe you're ready to go right into child's pose. We will stay in child's pose for a couple of minutes. So make sure that when you do find a child's pose, it's one that's sustainable. And if you want to take props, you're always welcome to. When you arrive, no hurry at all, but when you do arrive in child's pose, let yourself sink like a stone. Inviting in the quality of heaviness, earthiness again. The earthy mineral quality of your bones, right? Let the minerals of your bones sink like they're sinking to the bottom of the ocean. So I've been feeling this story a lot lately about these broken vessels and shards of light, and then just sort of noticing this theme that seems to show up a lot, this idea of how beautiful broken things are. And so this is a favorite, Mary Oliver. And it, to me, it is the story that we just heard in poem form. She says, "Oh, do you have time to linger for just a little while out of your busy and very important day for the goldfinches that have gathered in a field of thistles for a musical battle to see who can sing the highest note or the lowest, or the most expressive of mirth or the most tender? Their strong, blunt beaks drink in the air as they strive melodiously, not for your sake and not for mine, and not for the sake of winning, but for sheer delight and gratitude. Believe us," they say. "It's a serious thing just to be alive on this fresh morning in the broken world. I beg of you, do not walk by without pausing to attend to this rather ridiculous performance. It could mean something. It could mean everything. It could be what Rilke meant when he wrote, 'You must change your life.'" Mm. So let's head into our half frog sphinx on the other side. So from your child's pose, you can very luxuriously and slowly make your way back out onto your front. And this time it's going to be the left knee sliding up towards the outside of your left hip. Right foot is pointing straight back. Arms are set up in a way that serves you to give you just the right amount of back bend, just the right amount of compression medicine that you need this evening. And then inviting everything to unwind. Spread out. Imagine all the fibers of your heart unbraiding, unwinding. You can ride the breath this time, ride its coattails into your pelvis. And as you exhale, breathe spaciousness into your pelvis. Breathe in, ride it right down to the beautiful bowl of your hips. And breathe out, invite one more layer of letting go around the hips. Let your bones fall apart. Let things come apart so there's space. Space, that's one. Douglas Brooks. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Douglas Brooks. Great, I guess you'd call him a philosophy teacher, mythology teacher. And I'll never forget he was talking about Ganesha's tusk being broken. And there's this really wild story about Shiva. Okay, I'm going to tell you another story because it's a wacky one, and I can guarantee you've not heard it pretty much. So it is another creation story. And in Hindu mythology, the world is created and destroyed many times over, just like often we feel our own lives are, begin again and again and again. And in one of these, Shiva happens to be underwater. He's underwater, hanging out underwater. And he comes up out of the water and he sees that Brahma has created a mess. So Shiva's just been thinking everything's fine. Brahma's doing a good job creating the world as he should. But instead, when he looks, it's just absolute utter chaos. And Shiva gets so upset that he takes his hand to his own penis and takes it off and just like throws it out into space in this gesture of absolute frustration. at all of the chaos around him. And I, it's that feeling of like, I'm so frustrated. I just want to break something. It's a really kind of silly story, but Douglas said that how beautiful is it that even these divine beings are broken. And he said, if you're not broken, if you're not in some state of brokenness, transformation, shifting, changing, you're dead. Right? We want that. We actually invite breaks. We invite liminal space. We invite our vessels to shatter so that we can pick up the pieces and arrange them in any way we like. That's a story I'll probably never tell on Yoga Anytime TV, just for you all here. So let's take another couple of breaths, letting the exhale just loosen the knots. Breathing in, ride it all the way in. Breathing out, let one more knot loosen. Let one more tissue unbraid. Let one more clenching muscle let go. And then we'll do, this time we're not going to come into the child's pose unless you want to. You're very welcome to. We're going to come just to hands and knees and just do a little bit of dancing around with the spine. So take your time, and y'all know these timings are always suggestions. And so if you want to linger, you linger. You need to come out sooner. But suggesting here just some cat cow and letting there be a little bit of chaos, perhaps, right? A little bit of freedom, a little bit of like, I don't know what's going to come out of me next. It might not look like anything that's ever come out of me before. Or it might just be really simple, and that's what you need tonight. You don't need to rush into this at all, but I'm going to just describe and show where we're going. And when you feel like you're sufficiently washed of those Sphinx poses, you can do this with me. I'm going to take my right leg and step on the foot. I'm sitting on my left heel, and then my right foot is turned out to the right. And so there's lots of ways you can vary this shape. I was really enjoying sitting on a block today too. And so I'm going to come off my heel. I'm putting a block on its medium side. That's what worked for me, but it could be that you use nothing at all. It could be that you have it on a different setting, or you use some kind of different support underneath you. And then what we're going to do is take sort of a gate pose. I'm calling it the hanging gate. I don't know. We'll see if that name sticks. But I'm going to take my right leg here and play with it a little bit. So how far you bring it forward, you can heel toe it forward, and how far you bring it back. They change things. It changes sensation. So I found that the more I heel toe my foot back, right, the more I'm getting this external rotation of the hip, the more intense it's going to be. So you can really dial it up or down as you need to. I'm going to shift my block a little bit. And then the hand's going to come down on the floor, near the floor, or on some support. I even like to put my hand on my foot here, right hand to right foot. Left arm, I'm just draping it behind my back and letting it just find a really natural place to land, not really looking for any place in particular. If you want and you have the room, you could reach around and touch your inner right thigh. And then this other leg, this left leg is interesting too, whether that points straight ahead or whether that opens out to the side, you're going to get different sensation. Okay, and then the last piece, I know it's a lot here. The last piece is a little tip over to the side towards your top bent knee, and letting the head drop. And neck stuff can be intense, and we'll be here for a couple of minutes. And so if at any point you need to change what's happening with your neck, please do that. We want to loosen the knots, not create more knots. And so whatever that means to you, whether it means you move a little bit, come out of it if you need to, or maybe you just stay. right? And so this is sort of the general gist of the shape. And what we're looking for here is some sensation in the neck, but not too much. A side bend of the spine. And then this external rotation, this real big kind of wide open yawn of your right hip. Nice place to check in with your jaw, your mouth, your lips, your cheeks. What's going on there? Shoulders can soften a bit, arm bones heavy. Harper was watching your cat's little tail come back and forth. It's so cute. Oh, the animals, they're shards of light, aren't they? They're like little scattered drops of goodness and light and stars. And that's just that Mary Oliver poem is so amazing because that's just it. It's like the birds, just to notice the birds. I was talking to my friend at work. We work at a farm and we stand outside all day, and both of us were like, can you believe some people don't notice the birds? Can you imagine? Just not even caring about the birds. And so the world can be so broken. And then there's the birds. And it doesn't negate the brokenness, right? That it doesn't like make up for it and take it away somehow, that there's still pain and grief and difficulty. But it can all live together. It somehow balances the scales. So look around, where in you is there an opportunity for just another, maybe just even a tiny little bit of letting go. Invite the weight of the air, of the sky, of the stars to help you, to move through you. I haven't given a ton of thought to how we're gonna wash this one off. I can't remember what I did when I did it earlier. So I'll leave this up to you, a choose your own adventure moment. As you know, neck stuff, careful, right? Neck is big feelings there, big sensations. So real slow when you move your neck back into a neutral position. And then whatever your body might ask for, go for it. Anything at all. There's no wrong answer. It could be just sit for a moment. Maybe that's what I did. I think I did just come and sit on my heels and just kind of notice difference between the right hip and the left hip. Notice what parts feel spacious, what parts feel compacted. Notice any humming, tingling. Where do you sense your aliveness? Where do you feel it the most in your body? And we are going to head right over to the other side. So when you're ready, as long as you need, you can sit on your right heel or you can sit on a pillow or block. Left leg comes out like a gate pose leg. And you're just playing, and you're different. We're not symmetrical. We're not square. There's nothing in our bodies that's square, actually. So you're feeling into the difference on this side or the sameness on this side, playing with your foot being more forward or being more behind you. Where's your left hand going to go? On the foot, on the floor, on some support. Right arm drapes, either just resting behind the back or creeping over towards your left thigh. And head falls left ear to left shoulder. If you need to move it, you move your nose, point a little this way or that way. Move it as needed. Take a big in breath. And as you exhale, settle in. Allow your bones to arrive in shape. Muscles to drape off your bones. Your skin to hold you really tenderly, not tight, not gripping. Soft skin. This amazing barrier we have with the world, this very porous barrier. Some of us more porous than others. My son, we did an astrology reading with a great friend who's a brilliant astrologer, and she was so helpful. She said, remember, she's talking to me really, remember that he's very porous. And so I think that I try to just assume everybody's pretty porous now, right? That like people are sensitive. And so to be extra gentle, extra tender. You can breathe right through the pores of your skin, pour it right into your bones. Go ahead, take one more look around here. Waltz around your inner landscape. Look in every little corner, every joint, every nook and cranny. Again, looking, just noticing. You're not looking for anything in particular. Just noticing. And then come on out. Come on out. Collect yourself again. Taking time to either move and shake it off, or to be still and let it just simmer and settle inside you. Let your body absorb. Either way, whether you're moving or whether you're still, your body's absorbing all of that work. It's just drinking it into your tissues. I wonder if you might have guessed that there's a frog pose coming up. So, speaking of breaking and things falling apart, so not to scare you though, and this can be done so gently, and I'm going to even grab my bolster and show you that way. So we'll start in a wide child's pose. We'll call that one in yin tadpole. Big toes are close together, knees are open as much as your body likes. And then maybe that's where you stay. And if you feel a lot of sensation, you could bring a bolster in front of you so that you don't have to go down so far. Otherwise, you can bring your elbows or whole arms down to the floor, elbows or palms to the floor. And then if you wanted to work from this tadpole towards a full frog, you could start to turn your toes out to opposite sides of your space. You might move your knees further apart. You might let your feet drift so that they come closer to being underneath your knees. And then you can play with where your torso goes. You can do a little forward, you can push it back, and it's going to change. Every little movement, it's going to bring some new sensation, some shift here too. If you're in the frog with your knees wide open and your feet out to the side, you can use some support here. This is a nice place to be. And then for sure, the ultimate marriage here of discomfort, awkwardness, and hopefully a little bit of ease. Just trying to find the shards of light here in this challenging shape. What part of you feels really good? What part of you feels open and free? Let your bones move apart. Checking in. This is one where you're going to want to check again and again. How am I? What's willing to soften? You're trying to relax the whole body. And then you can come out of it because a little bit goes a long way with that one, doesn't it? So gather your bits and pieces and call them back to you. Gather all your bits of light and collect them again. So it is nice after a big wide open frog to take a child's pose. I know we already did one, but if you'd like another one, you could do that. Otherwise, anything else that feels good. We are going to come to sitting eventually, kind of bringing it up onto our seat for the first time this evening. But take your time, please, please take your time. And, sometimes you just need a good old fashioned lay down shavasana for a moment. So if that's the case. And then where we're going next is a caterpillar. So we've done a lot of opening, knees outward, external rotation, big hip yawns. And so we're going to kind of collect it back into center here. Caterpillar is the seated long leg forward bend. Okay, lots of options here too. You could pile things on top of your legs. You could put things underneath your knees to give a little bend if that helps for some relief. You could sit on blankets, bolsters, anything you like. And this one, contrary to how we do it in our Hatha or Vinyasa practice, we're not going with a flat back. We're not flexing our feet and, engaging the legs. And I just have to say this because I have to remind myself every time, like relax, relax. Leg muscles loosen from the bones. Feet just do whatever the feet naturally want to do here. And then you roll down. You roll from the top down like you're pouring your upper body into your legs. You fall into yourself. You might walk your arms out. You could put them on blocks if you like. And you just keep falling until you meet that first place. But how do you know when you're there? You have to be attentive, right? You have to pay attention. Where is that first place of resistance where the body says enough? Let's land here. Let's lean into this right here. Let your arms soften and get a little heavier. Let your legs loosen every knot. And how's your belly today? Can you let your belly be soft so that the breath moves your belly, even in this forward fold, to feel the belly respond? Feel the back of your body respond to the breath. How heavy can you get? There's a goddess in the Hindu pantheon. Her name is Akhilandeshwari. And her name means she who is never not broken. She's awesome. And you see depictions of her drawings, paintings, and she looks like a puzzle where her pieces are not quite put together. There's space between all of the puzzle pieces. And that's where her power is. So let your puzzle pieces come apart. Can there be space between your muscles and your skin? Feel the spaces between your ribs. Notice the space between your arms and your body, between your legs, between your toes, fingers. Let your body sink into the floor. Bring some attention to your hands. Let your palms soften. Let Let your elbows get heavy. Let your jaw unhinge. Start to come out now. Little by little, you can unfurl yourself back up. Let your spine extend, climb up, and breathe a little bit deeper again. And then how about a little windshield wiper after that? Lean back on your palms and just wash it off side to side. And we haven't done this. I don't often teach this one. I'm going to do it as an option. So the snail, the snail is basically like a plow pose, but it's rounder than a plow. And so I like to have a bolster, a pillow, something behind me that I can aim my feet for, right? And I'll just show you so you kind of roll back and I can rest. And you might decide, oh, I need to be a little closer, a little further away. So that's one way that you can do it. Arms can go anywhere. They can wrap around your legs. They can stay by your side. Your knees can bend. We're going for rounded spine here. So that's an option, okay? And you can do it with no props as well. If it feels like that's a little too much, more than what I need, then how about a happy baby? Because that's going to give you a similar sensation, similar goal here as far as the things we're trying to work, a nice rounded spine and a forward bend. So happy baby or snail. And, or both. You might decide on one and then realize maybe that's not the one for me. And you can change your mind and try the other one. There's no rules here. But really, the idea of kind of curling into yourself, climbing inward. So Akilandeshwari, this goddess who's never not broken, her puzzle pieces that she can arrange however she likes. So the story about her is that everyone was really afraid of her because she was so wild and unpredictable and powerful, and they were scared. And so all of the villagers where her temple was, they begged Shiva to please, please, can you do something so that she's not so terrifying? And so Shiva gave her a pair of earrings, and they had a geometric design with these interlocking triangles. And it was meant that her energy, all this wild, unbridled, primal energy, this energy that you never knew what was going to happen, right? It would go up into the earring, or it could just bounce around in that triangle forever and ever. And it gave her wildness, somewhere to go. But here's the best part of the story is that she said, fine, okay, I'll wear your earrings sometimes. I'll wear them during the day. But at night, I take them off. And at night, I remember who I truly am. And at night, I come back into my power, my wildness. I love that. Because it's really, I mean, to me, that says something about how it takes sometimes the darkness of night to remember who we are. So looking around your shape, noticing, is it sustainable? Can I lean into the sensation? Can I soften into this sensation? Do I need to make a change? This is going to be our last shape. And so you can linger a bit longer. If it's still giving you good medicine, you stay. And when it's time, you let it go. So at this point, we've got a few minutes left in class here. And so you can linger in the shape as long as you like, but give yourself some time to rest. So maybe in the next, minute or so, you would start to undo it and to make a little place for yourself, make a little nest for yourself on the ground to rest in. And it doesn't mean you necessarily have to go get things to make a nest, but just snuggling around until you feel like you find a place where you can really fit in and settle. As you settle wherever you might be, bring your attention to your heels. Just notice your heels, they touch the ground. And let your heels get really heavy. Invite weight into your heels. And the soles of your feet and your toes. Relaxing both feet. Noticing your ankles. Can there be ease, spaciousness in your ankles? And an earthiness in your lower legs, heavy calves. And your knees, bring your attention to your knees. Imagine you could screw off your kneecap and your knees could breathe, and there could be so much space, just a deep sense of slackening and loosening and unwinding around the knees. And notice your thighs, tops of the thighs, backs of the thighs, the whole thigh, both legs, inviting heaviness, gravity into your thighs. Feeling your hips, right hip, left hip, weight of the bones, big bones there, pelvic bones, let them be heavy on the earth, inviting earthiness into the whole base of you. Feeling into your belly. You could breathe again and let the belly soften. Invite your belly to be spacious. Imagine there's space between your organs, more and more space between them. Inviting space into your heart, letting your heart spread out into all corners of your chest like water seeping into every place. Feeling the expanse of your collarbones, beautiful long road of your collarbone, and how you can empty some tension perhaps from your shoulders. Invite gravity into your shoulders and upper arms. Spaciousness into your elbows. Earthiness into your forearms. Ease in your wrists and letting your hands just be slack and soft. Feeling your skull, the weight of your skull. Letting your face muscles all loosen a bit so you become expressionless yet really gentle at the same time. Feel your body as a whole. Allow your body to rest on the earth. And if you could imagine a second you, another you that's like a shadow or a ghost version of you, hovering just outside your body. And then climbing in, imagine that shadow you merging with the you on the ground. And as you climb in and just feel into everything. Climb in and notice everything, feel every sensation as you settle into your body. And then you can begin journeying back up once you've climbed into your body, then allow it to climb up towards the sky again, little by little, no rush. If you want to stay, of course, please stay. Otherwise, you can start to pour your way back up to sit. Letting your body find an easy place to sit, your hands a nice place to land on your body somewhere, or together at your heart. We'll finish with one Om. Oh. Thank you so much.